Hello, friends. Welcome to the Say It Loud podcast. I'm your host, Matt Jones. As my man Steve Harvey would say, we got another good one for you today. We've got Josh Klaus of Fierce Kelly and of his own solo projects. And we have Raul Ochoa, a.k.a. the modern-day Midas, on the show. And we're talking about open mics. We haven't really talked about this before. The Fair City Fire guys have done their share of open mics. So have Josh and Raul. They've even been hosts of open mic nights. So we talked about why do it, what works, what doesn't, what is it like to host, what's important when you're going to do a new open mic. We came up with some rules. They're unwritten, but maybe they can be written now. Number one is basically just don't be a dick. If you can follow that rule, you'll have a great time at open mic. We talked about how open mic is really about the importance of community, of culture, having a purpose as a musician. It's a very specific type of watering hole, as Josh said. And stick around to the end if you want to learn a lesson or two about cucumbers, about getting married at McDonald's. Important stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy.
I feel like I just have to align with all the musicians. All seem to be supporting Ted Cruz, and I just got to follow in line, or I'll be an outcast.
Except for Willie, traitor.
Yeah. Traitor. He doesn't care about Texas.
Are there really musicians behind Ted Cruz?
No.
I was going to say, wow.
I'm sure there are.
I'm
complete
sure there are.
Every Texas country
Nickelback.
artist.
Yeah.
Nickelback loves Ted Cruz.
Nah, they're for Justin. I was gonna say they're for Justin Trudeau or whoever the antithetical Justin Trudeau is.
Ted Nugent is, and he doesn't even live here.
I don't even know who Ted Nugent is.
Oh yes, you do.
Who's Ted Nugent?
Cat scratch fever.
How would I know that?
Come on.
He had a show. He had a show on MTV.
He hunts.
Did he really?
Yeah.
He hunts wild game. Well, quote unquote wild game on his ranch from his helicopter with guns.
That's really cool.
He's crazy.
It's like,
I mean, I would do that if I could afford that.
A helicopter
Yeah.
or a ranch?
Both.
Freddie Brett. Hey, Sarah.
We were just getting warmed up. We were riffing about
Yeah.
very
Who
nice
Ted
statements.
Nugent is.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Ted Nugent was.
Who is Ted
Say thank you.
What?
Thank you.
No way.
I know Ted
Oh.
He's a sponsor for McDonald's.
But I don't hate on people that know things because I don't know a lot of things. So
Hell yeah. Hey, that also goes in. We're
Yeah.
saying don't make fun of people, understand people.
yeah,
Just because somebody's dumb, you don't get to make
Is
fun
Ted
of them.
Nugent big in
it's true.
Indiana?
No, he's
no, I wouldn't say. I'd say no.
is he? He's like
Where's he from?
he's
Detroit?
in like
He's the
Michigan.
Motor City Madman.
That's
Yeah.
not so far away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a ranch in Michigan.
I mean, I'd say he was as big in any country town, and that for that matter.
That's true.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember
that
some
rock, that kind of like
someone just told me a fun
Hillbilly
fact.
rock.
Somebody who was from Indiana. That I can't remember what the band was. Oh, shoot.
I'm in Mellencamp.
Boston.
I think it was. No, it wasn't. It was something like that. I can't remember.
Mellencamp.
Jackson 5.
Could be.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah,
See, there you
Gary, Indiana.
Gary, Indiana.
Gary-
Michael Jackson.
There you go. I didn't. That's his name.
Who is Gary?
Gary, Indiana is where the town.
The city.
Oh.
You think that was Michael Jackson's real name?
Gary, Indiana. They changed it to
Why
Michael
is he
Jackson.
just Gary?
We're gonna call him Michael.
Gary, Indiana sounds like a terrible superhero.
Dude, he's the worst.
Yeah.
He smells terrible too.
Gary, Indiana. With the power of irrigation.
His superpower is finding scratch-off tickets that still have $2 on them that somebody just threw away.
Yeah.
Slowly building his fortune.
Power to
It's
turn
me,
into paper
Gary,
manning.
Indiana.
Power.
Well, cool. Brett's here, so let's do a podcast.
Yes.
Now that we're warmed up, we're ready to go. So welcome to the Say It Loud podcast. I'm your host, Matt Jones, Fair City Fire. We've got Brett Winning,
Hello.
Brian Wolf,
Hi.
Clint Manning
Hello.
in the house. And we've got special guest, a returner, Josh Klaus.
Bonjour.
Yeah, he was here with Fierce Kelly. Did that. Well, how long ago was that?
Long time ago.
Several
was a
months.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Raul Ochoa.
Yeah, I was wondering if
Welcome,
you were going
first
to pronounce
timer.
my name right.
Did I?
There's always like a look of terror right before someone
There was a
said,
feeling of terror.
like, am I going to say this right?
Did I nail
Yes,
it?
you nailed it.
Cool. And this was kind of an interesting idea because we've never really talked about open mics. And so all you guys are very familiar with the open mic scene in Austin and other cities, participating in them, hosting them. So we kind of wanted to delve into music open mic, what it means, how it works, what the scene is like in Austin. So for me as an outsider, I've been to open mics before, but what is an open mic?
I think I guess the most accurate description would just be it's a place people go for a set time and a set place, location. There's a sign up at a certain time, and You go from, let's say, 8 o'clock to midnight, and people go up, and depending on what is specified in the open mic, it's either a poetry one or a comedy one or a music one. You get a set amount of time to go and kind of showcase what you got and then move through the list.
So in this one, I mean, obviously you guys have all done music open mics. That's what I wonder. I mean, what's the theory behind it? Is it, are you working on new stuff? Is it, I guess maybe for some people it's just they work all week and they just want to once a week express themselves. I mean, it's probably a balance of all that, I would think.
From my experience, an open mic is a very specific type of watering hole.
Okay.
For a very specific type of animal.
All right.
And what you normally find at people open mics are people who literally just moved to the city.
Okay.
People who are trying to make friends, and people who have a craft that they enjoy that they just don't get the satisfaction of playing at home. They want to play in front of other people. And then that can transform into friendships, networking opportunities, like people joining bands with each other, or just getting the feeling of like, I got my expression out. And that's usually what happens. So you get two types of people. You get the people who are social after they finish playing, and the people who just go back to the corner sitting with their guitar, just like looking very scared and like, oh my God, I hope that went well.
Or just leave the place altogether.
Yeah, they just sing and they're like, thank you, and they just walk out.
Yeah.
It's really, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So there is a big social element to it, I guess, huh? Like, do you find when you guys all moved to Austin, you all went to open mics pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like step one for me in the music scene. I didn't know what else to do, really. So I knew like Matt and Dan were running the open mic at Firehouse. So I kind of went down there and checked it out. Met most of my friends there, really. And, kind of got my feet on the ground. So definitely open mics.
You too, Clint? Right away?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, don't I remember that? Didn't you, Brian and Clint met at open mic?
Yeah, we met at Raul's open mic.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So it works.
Stomping grounds.
I think I was drunk.
Yes. I think we were all drunk.
Yeah. It's funny because both of those open mics you just mentioned are no longer happening now.
Yeah.
I
So,
went
if you want your bar to fail, just set up
Just
an open
start
mic.
an open mic.
Yeah. Yeah, great for musicians meeting, terrible for business.
I think
It's
I
going
went
to
to
sell a lot of $2 Lone Stars. Yeah.
There's 4 or 5 different open mics that I went to when I first got here, and I think all of them are closed.
So Raul, you've hosted many different open mics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do that? Why take that on? I mean, it seems like a lot of legwork, and there's a lot of sort of administrative time management stuff. It's a real gig.
I got my start just in music in general through an open mic. I was in college and I went to go play an open mic because some friends sort of dared me to. And I hit a wrong note on my guitar like a minute into one of my songs, and I bolt out the door like I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never getting on stage again. And the host, my buddy Jacob, stopped me and just like welcomed me, like was so welcoming. Brought this community, like he had brought this community together of artists and people that I still love and respect to this day. And it just became my weekly thing, was going and just seeing what new material these people brought out. And they gave me the confidence to even continue doing music. So I owe a lot to open mic. And the same thing, like the reason I like hosting is because someone did that for me. So I feel like I owe it to him to kind of continue that as a legacy type thing.
I'm sure every place is different and all kinds of people are different, but when you're hosting, have you ever had any, or have you seen it as a participant, any kind of drama in the scene, like somebody like not getting up or somebody doing an extra song? There must be things that happen that you would have to deal with. Everybody's laughing, so I can't wait to hear about something.
I mean, not too much of my open mics so far, but definitely I've been to some where like it's like, okay, you get 2 songs or whatever, or 3 songs maybe, but they'll make one of those songs like a mashup of like a million songs, and they're like, it's still one song, bro. It's like, well, dude, it was like 8 minutes, and you're being an ass.
All right, okay.
I think
So there's there are unwritten rules. So
it's just,
well, do you think it's
don't
usually
be a dick. That's a
Yeah.
good rule.
Usually
How about that?
10 under
I
10
feel like
minutes
we should
is probably
write it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's make these written rules
You
now.
should put on a bar napkin.
Rule number 1: don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably under 10 minutes. You would say, is that probably as far as somebody should go, or
10 to 15,
10
right?
to 15? Okay.
3 to 4 minutes a song,
Yeah.
I think is a good average length. So
Yeah.
about 10 minutes, depending on like if you're doing 2 or 3 songs. I think that's a good length. I don't know, Josh. What do you think?
Well, I mean, depends on the open mic because you have a 3-hour. Let's imagine it's a 3-hour set, right?
Yeah.
So that's 180 minutes. So if you're doing 10 minutes a slot, you have the maximum amount of 18 people. But sometimes you have more than that. So you just have to be kind of accommodating to a lot of people. So I would definitely say just a 2-song minimum if it's going to be over 18 people. And then make those transitions nice and quick.
Yeah.
What you guys are talking about is culture. And you get culture out of community. And someone who's new to the community doesn't understand the culture. So it's your job as the host to convey that culture to the individual. And that you really only need to have those conversations if that person comes back. Because if that person comes once, it's like a funny story. It's like, I remember this time at Firehouse, this guy brought in his electric guitar, his distortion pedal, and played like Slayer licks with no vocals. Like over the system.
I know
It was
exactly
just,
who you're talking about.
it was insane. And he came back multiple times. And he would play more than 10 minutes. Like it was just like the host eventually had to say like you can't do this anymore. Like you literally, and he never came back.
The whole
And
time he was doing no lyrics, just
No lyrics,
just riffs.
Yeah,
It's Rain and Blood.
Hell
yeah, if you can just
Yeah.
throw in some
Just
Rain and Blood.
instrumentals on a phone, I think, right?
What?
Was it like just instrumentals on a phone and he would like riff over them?
I don't even know. All I know
I'm
is
thinking of
that
someone
all I
else.
know is that he just plugged
Yeah.
into the system with a distortion pedal.
yeah.
It was like it's at a cocktail bar. Like know your setting. Like it's
Yeah.
just like I think that's one thing that's good about open mics is that people quickly learn how to tailor to the audience that they're playing to, and the people who don't learn don't come back. It's just that sense.
It is kind of strange that like the ones that do go over, like most people that go to open mics, I mean, some people are just trying to get better at performing, so they do covers and stuff, and most of the people at least play like one original song, and they're trying to like, they're songwriters trying to, get their songs out there and see how they feel about them. But the ones that go over are usually like they're doing like 7 cover songs in a mashup with like maybe just guitar or something.
Yeah.
So like, seems like there's like
I
there
feel
needs to be a
attacked.
different outlet for them. I think they end up at open mics because there's not really like somebody that just wants to jam in front of people for 20 minutes. There's not really a place.
Yeah, how
I don't know
much-
if there needs to be a place.
How
for
much
that,
is
but-
do you see people where hubris is involved, where it's like they're not there to be part of the community, they're there to show off the new lick they learned or something like that? I mean, there must be,
Oh, yeah.
just because there's people like
There's
that
all
over.
types,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
There's all types. There's definitely people that go to open mics and they're like hot shit. They just
Yeah.
show up and they're like, well, it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen,
I mean, to be honest, that's how I thought when I first started doing open mics.
Yeah.
Because I came back to Austin. I had gone here for university, and I came back, and I was basically just trying to find a place where I could hang out with friends. And I remember going to this open mic at B.D. Riley's, and they would give you like if you did well the week before, you would get a 30-minute solo slot before the open mic. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm hot shit. And so then I played my slot, and then in walks Brian Wolf to play
Hey.
after me.
Yeah.
And then there's Dan Cohen and Matt McDonald to play after him. So when you're followed by those two guys, so there's 2 acts, it just blows you away. Like, it makes you feel so small.
Humbles you quickly.
It humbles you.
Really quickly.
But the
yeah.
great thing about Austin, and this is just my personal experience, is that the people that are better than you want you to be as good as them. Like, there's this very supportive community in Austin where it's like, I know I'm better than you right now, but I know that you can get to my level, and here's how you can do it. Like, everyone is so willing to help each other. And that was really great. And Brian was definitely one of those guys who was just super nice and just let me know, like, this is what you do. This is how you do it. And we played tennis together, and we just hung out, and he was one of my first great friends in Austin.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
it was thanks to the open mic. I was telling Matt before the podcast started that I would say almost all of the good things in my life in Austin had happened because of an open mic.
And would you say, Raul?
I said all of the bad things. just darkness and sadness and yeah.
Life's about perspective,
It is.
Yeah.
Or hosting versus going.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe.
Because I never really
Yeah,
host.
the yin and
I
the
just
yang.
go.
Yeah.
You sub sometimes, though, don't you?
I do. I'm a sub.
Yeah.
I'm like a substitute teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you did.
Teaching's
you,
not
you
bad.
met your wife at open mic, right?
I did.
So yeah, you got to give it up to open mic, right?
Yeah. Well, the reason is because when you're a musician, a lot of times, like for me, I'm pretty short. And so you learn to play music, at least I did, so I could meet girls. And but when you're playing a 3-hour set and you make eye contact with a girl, she's not going to wait around for you for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And so but open mic's great 'cause you play 2 songs and they're probably your best songs. Right. And then you walk out and you're like, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. And then the rest is history.
Oh, me? No.
So if your intent was to learn to play music to talk to girls, like
Right.
at what point do you learn Wonderwall in that journey?
Immediately.
To be honest,
First one?
I got it requested so much as a kid, but I'd never heard the song.
Oh man,
I just only
You
heard
never,
it.
it's by Ted Nugent. You never heard Wonderwall?
Yeah, Ted Nugent. Yeah.
Uncle Ted, man, just rocking the ladies' favorites.
So I had only really learned it from like being in those like guitar circles where some other guy would have a guitar and he'd play it. And I
Oh,
remember
man.
listening to the original version. I'm like, this sounds nothing like what
Yeah.
everyone else is playing.
So how do
It's
you
an okay song.
balance? So you were saying, you probably play your 2 best songs. How do you, when you go to those open mics, how much do you decide between I'm going to play my 2 best, or there's something I need to work on, or I want to see if something works that I'm writing?
I think
How
it
do you,
definitely depends on the individual.
Yeah.
Like I've seen through going to open mics through the years, I've seen people that they seem to play like 2 of the same 5 songs over even a 2-year period. I've seen some people like that. They just clearly think it's their best song. I don't know if they just want to just keep getting it out to people. And then there's other people that play you'll never see them play the same song twice, or it's a rarity.
So how do you guys fall in that? Like when you were doing it, Clint, what were you doing?
I used to do a mix depending on the songs. Like some of the open mics that go longer or have shorter lists, you get 3-4 songs. So then you can kind of change it up, treat it like a little set almost. When it's 2, I would always kind of do maybe one known, a song that I feel like has been established as a good song and of mine, and then one that's probably the newest thing that I'm working on.
How about you, Raul?
I think it kind of went in waves as my confidence and experience built. When I first started out, I just kind of immediately would gravitate toward the songs that I knew I could do the best, just because it was crowd pleasing, people pleasing. The more and more experience I got just as a performer and more comfortable with being on stage, I'm totally okay with flubbing a song that I just wrote 10 minutes beforehand. Just because I need to get that experience under that song. I need to get a little bit of weight under that song. So it's kind of less about the performance aspect for me now at an open mic, and it kind of switched into being more communal. Okay, I'm sharing this song, and I'm sharing it mostly for my purposes, just to kind of lock it into my brain. Then afterwards, I'll go and be social and listen to everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess, at the beginning, when you're starting out, that makes sense to do something you're comfortable with. It's almost like being an intern at a job, you're just trying to figure out how it works, being up on stage, getting the mic to the right height, making sure your guitar is tuned between each song, going through the little things that you might not have thought of when you were up there because you're just trying to remember the lyrics, and now all of a sudden you have a bunch of logistical sound technology things thrown at you. That's probably a big jump.
Yeah, in a weird way, I think you really learn songs by performing them too. I don't know, I can't explain that, but it's just you kind of you can practice it a million times in your house, but once you get out and play it for people, that's when it really sinks in. That's how you really learn how to play the song in a way that's effective.
Clint, I don't know if you remember Gary Lynn Williams from Backroads, older guy with always wore the Hawaiian shirts, very
Yeah, I do.
large man.
I have his business card somewhere.
Yeah. Gary had this saying that he would say pretty much at every open mic, and he said, it's not a song until you play it live.
Yeah,
And I've always kind of
Yeah, I know.
loved that.
That's a good
aspect.
piece
makes
of
sense.
advice.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary.
So you guys have been in Austin for a while. We talked about the scene a little bit, but how does Austin, the open mic scene, compare to other cities or towns that you've performed in?
I mean, just the talent level is insane here. I mean, I'm sure it's similar in Nashville, I would imagine, places like that, but just jumping from going to a few open mics in my hometown, in upstate New York, Binghamton, and like jumping into like what Austin is was just like what, like just because before it was sort of like my mentality on open mics was this is a way people can play if they can't find gigs. That was unfortunately that was like the way I thought about it.
Had a very amateur feel.
Yeah, but then you go to Austin, you're like everybody goes to these, like even if people are out there playing all the time and like they're insanely talented, it's just the talent level like it's intimidating at first, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think we were talking about it yesterday, and I don't have too much experience with the open mic scene here, but I did a little bit in San Antonio. But I always played with a duo with another buddy. It's kind of like what Brian and I do, but we would go hit open mics. And then I remember we were like, let's go up to Austin. Let's check that shit out, right? We're only an hour away, so we drove up and went and played at Rudamaya. And when we went in, and it was literally, I would have paid money to go to that open mic. It was that good. Everyone was so good.
Yeah, they had a great stage, too, and sound. And
and that was my first taste of Austin, was just like...
And they had that lottery system.
They did, too, right. Yeah. And we were like sitting down, and we had our number. We were late, so we ended up watching. And I was like, one act after the other. It was just like, this is incredible. And everyone was different, too. It wasn't like just guitar. It was... I remember there was a cello and drum player. There was brothers tap dancing to an electric guitar and drums. Nice. All sorts of stuff, man. It was a full-on show. It was great.
In the open mic culture in Austin, do you see a lot of players go between different shows to hop one to another, or is it more like you find your spot and then just keep building there?
There's both.
There's some that do several open mics in a night.
Right.
They'll go from one, play there, go to the other.
I think we all mutually know a couple of players that will like, I don't know if they all just commute together, but they kind of just, they start at the earliest one and they go to the latest one, like then they just hop around the city.
And that seems to signify that they can't find shows to play. Because why would you play multiple places? That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, like one in particular, I don't want to name anybody for purposes, but like there's like older musicians that maybe don't like, they used to play a lot, but because of their lifestyle and family now, they just don't play shows anymore, like because they didn't pursue music professionally. There's people like that, or people that just do it for fun, and so they're not necessarily looking for shows, but they enjoy open mics.
And there are other players that are just trying to absorb as much as possible and do as much as possible. Like they're doing like quick passes kind of thing. Like they're just trying to get as much as possible out of the shortest amount of time as possible.
I wonder about that strategy, because with that, it seems like you'd be missing out on like the networking side of things. And
it definitely takes away from the community part of it.
But
a little bit.
Maybe like you said, it's the older. It's like, well, I don't need to make friends.
Seriously, that's what it feels like. They're just hopping around and so some of those people I've seen, like they don't always do that either. So like sometimes they do stick around. So maybe it's just what you're feeling on a certain night.
Sometimes it seems like players that do that, or the players that just kind of show up and don't really socialize and then leave almost immediately, that play kind of the same things over and over. Sometimes it feels like they're just doing their nightly tour of the city as like a performance advertisement type thing. Like, hey, if you want to book me, and they hang around for the minimal amount of time to kind of maximize their spread. It's kind of how I look at it. Like they're advertising a little bit.
Yeah, it's like their way to hustle, I guess.
Yeah, but that seems like such an old school way to do it, because that seems so remarkably inefficient. Like, I can't remember the last time anybody's gotten hired from an open mic. You know what I mean? It's like...
Wait, hang on. Didn't you say you played a 30-minute set because you did so well at open mic?
But it's the same venue, and you didn't get paid any money.
I'm just messing around.
Busting my balls over here, Indiana. Gary, Indiana over here, busting my balls.
Yeah, Fair City Fire got their first gig because of playing at Raul's open mic, I would say.
All right, fine.
So
I'm wrong.
That was something Raul's always been like.
You weren't wrong.
That was a unique
situation.
situation.
With his open mics, though, he's tried to.
Yeah, I had the benefit of.
I don't even know if I'd want that though. How like being in charge of the calendar at the place that I run the open mic. Like that seems like
once the word's out.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying.
A lot of difficult situations.
There certainly were a lot of difficult situations. I found that when I stopped doing the open mic, like a lot of people forgot that I'm also a player.
Yeah.
Like that I'm not just an open mic host. That I also play professionally, and so when I go out to other open mics, now that I had free time, I'm like, oh wait, you play? That makes sense.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't know that you played. For the longest time, I always thought you were the host.
Yeah, it's the curse.
Being
Curse
that,
of the host.
being that the four of you guys have been so involved, especially in the Austin open mic scene, would you say that what percentage and that of the people who show up and play try to put a band together or are there to meet other musicians for that main purpose?
I don't think it's intentional. I think it's a byproduct.
Okay.
I think it's you show up for 6 months to a year and you would develop a rapport with someone, and then the coincidence lines up where it's like, well, I had this idea to start this project. It was like, well, I play bass, and so you just like, you almost have this melding of minds that kind of come together and do that because
More of a natural way of
the band Deerfellow started that way. Like they met at the Firehouse open mic. Matt Solois and Alyssa Kelly, and then obviously Cruzy he was at Firehouse.
Yeah,
and I think
gonna
you
talk about Fair City Fire's X.
Yeah,
For
Stray
a second
Eagle?
here.
this is a trigger.
Yeah, this is how Stray Eagle began.
one
Stray
show,
Eagle.
dude. They sold out the place one show and then they
Yeah,
retired.
that's it.
Amazing.
Formed a five-piece band outside of House Wine that lasted for 2 weeks
Oh yeah.
There you go.
with Carrie and Rob and
Like
For-
Carrie Q.
yeah.
Seriously?
Forrest, yeah, we were called we had some terrible name. I think it was called.
I remember you
White
guys were
Lighter.
calling yourself a
White
a
Lighter?
super
Yeah,
group.
because they're bad luck, White Lighters or something. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Trying to reverse the mentality.
Amazing.
But there's like four singer songwriters in one band. Is just not.
I remember
a good
that
recipe
night.
for success.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
I remember that night they were
The
all in the
Beatles.
parking lot, and like I think like 3 of them had skipped their place on the list because they were all 4
They
out
got super
jamming.
excited. Yeah.
They got
Oh,
super
nice.
excited about it.
Oh, speaking of, that's related to that. That's a huge pet peeve of mine at open mics when there's a duo and they play together, but they sign up as 2 different spots.
Oh yeah,
So then they take 4 songs.
yeah.
I hate that shit.
That's
I won't put up with that shit.
It's
You
so
can get the hell out.
Yeah, it's so annoying. So annoying.
I'm with you,
You're
man.
listening.
That
You
shit
don't go
sucks.
to Fourth Tap open mic with that kind of.
I think that goes
mentality.
back to my main rule is don't be a dick, and I think that's being a dick.
Would you say that's the only rule there is for open mics?
I think
just for
so.
life.
I mean,
yeah, that's a good point.
Well, let's
The one commandment.
if somebody was going to go, what are things they should? I mean, it's a lot of cultural stuff, in terms of. I guess it's a lot about
go over the rules here.
consideration of other people, consideration of time.
I think the
Um,
biggest thing you can possibly do to just make the host's life easier. Someone please sign up number 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One.
Oh,
Someone
does
please
everybody
sign
want to
up.
go last, or nobody?
No
wants to
one
go
wants to go
first?
first.
Ooh,
Everyone wants like
interesting.
So
middle of the pack for the most part.
for you, I guess you've all ran them. I know you've subbed into. Do you let people sign up where they want until it fills up, or do you make them go in order like 1, 2, 3? Like
I've seen both
If you
happen.
show up, you're signing up wherever's next.
I personally let them choose whatever number they want,
So as long as the space is open, you can go down and.
but I also am a bit of a hypocrite because I execute a bit of nepotism.
Okay.
And where if someone comes in who I'm like, I know you're pretty talented, I'll just slide you in wherever you want, because that happens to me every week at House Wine. Like I don't even show up and sign up on a list. I just show up and I play.
Dude, big boss man.
Yeah,
Wow,
but the
man.
same thing is like Wolf can do that too.
Yeah.
And so could basically anybody in this room could do that because we have clout. And I think that's a good system.
Right.
Would you call it Klaus Cloud?
I would
Beat
call
me to it.
Yeah.
It's
Klaus?
Yeah.
So that
Klaus
seems
Cloud.
like the other big thing is for you guys. It's important that the open
Okay.
mics are a network, that they are a community, right? First and foremost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're also speaking to that element that Josh just brought up, like sliding that little bit of nepotism. There also is an element from the host to make sure that there's at least a gem on the list, because not every time is that going to happen. And you do also have a venue and a business to concern yourself
Yeah. How
with.
do you deal with? Let's say there's somebody that they're really trying, but they're just not good. But they're trying, and they're maybe doing a little better. But you can tell they're really during that their part of the show when they're playing. It brings the room down, or it's obvious people are listening in a way where they're not enjoying it and maybe almost poking fun at the person?
I think it's a careful balance, but I think that's okay, and you don't
Right.
want to like shut out those people. But if you know people that are coming back, I think like we was talking about sliding people in slots and stuff, is you just don't want like 3 to 4 of those people who aren't really like ready to play in a row, because if you're trying to keep regular guests around, it just becomes unenjoyable. Like you want to keep it an open stage for people that are, maybe they don't have it figured out yet, or maybe they're doing something a little off the beaten path and seeing if it has any, attention. But you don't want like just 5 of those people in a row, because then it just gets like exhausting.
What would it take for you to imply to someone that maybe they shouldn't come back again?
I think it's if they're like super offensive for some
More
reason.
like behavior, attitude stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that's
play 20
for
minutes.
me.
When they threaten me with physical harm.
Yeah.
Has that happened to you?
Yeah.
What happened?
There was a gentleman who I will keep nameless. He would come to the open mic, and he decided one time he wanted to try to run his own sound, and I said, okay. I let him adjust the board, and then he comes in the next week, and he looks like he's on something of the narcotic variety. He just looks like he's not completely there, and it's my equipment, so I don't want someone damaging my equipment. So I tell him, hey, let me run it this week. I don't know what you're on right now, but I just don't want to risk you messing with my stuff. He does his one song, like screams his stuff, and then comes and like stands over me and starts saying, I'm going to be running my own sound from now on. You understand that's what's going to be happening.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'm going to choose not to say. But he doesn't go to any of these open mics anymore, so.
Oh, I said ooh, not who. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
He just needs
Yeah,
to
I was
know,
just-
man.
I thought it was an owl.
It was more of an owl kind of thing.
Got to give him the warning, in case
I thought.
he comes trying to
So
lay the
yeah,
beat down.
he kind of like and like just is very like threatening, and then he sends me a bunch of Facebook messages.
Yeah.
I remember the
Sweet.
same individual, which is like also the challenge, like we were saying, when you book at the place you are, like he would just ask Raul for a show, and he would have to like politely say no, but he would just keep asking,
And I eventually said yes, and then the manager of the venue said, no, you're canceling that. And if he has a problem with it, I'll tell him.
Situations like that come up. What do you say in there? Do you kind of just try to neutralize it and let it just kind of fizzle off, or do you say, hey, look, do you take it by the, grab it by the horns and say, hey, look, you need to settle down. I'm going to ask you to leave. Or because I know it's all touchy. Like
It honestly
depending on how you
depends
say
on
things.
the scenario or the person. Most of the time, like, you're facilitating. You're there to make sure that the whole room is having a good time. And if one
Right.
person's being a sourpuss, then
I guess with that situation, did you ask him to leave?
Oh yeah, we got banned from the bar.
yeah.
But when the mic reaches enough critical mass of people, then they start just feeling the social pressure in the first place, and no one really wants to make that kind of scene multiple times unless they're somewhat unstable. And you sometimes get those narcissistic, unaware, almost entitled musicians every now and then, but the system seems to weed them out. Like you said, they don't go to the open mics anymore, either because they moved or they either learned their lesson, but
Or they get banned. Or
they get
something.
banned, yeah. But sometimes getting banned means like, wow, maybe it's a me thing, or maybe they're just never become aware. But sometimes you just need to do that. But I haven't really had that many experiences with that, because usually they just won't come back. If they don't feel welcome, then they won't come back.
I feel like Brian's the one that just wouldn't put up with it, like, in any capacity. Brian would, just say on the microphone, you get the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the old clips of The Rock giving the people's elbow. I mean, that's, if I have to do that, I'll do that.
Did you teach him that?
Yeah.
Brian's just always ready to take his shirt off.
Hey, let's not joke about Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Right? That's my dude.
He's a friend of the podcast.
He's a friend of the cast.
Dwayne.
Oh God, that'd be the greatest. Sorry.
If he came on, that'd be pretty.
Oh, that'd be so
If you're
inspirational.
listening, you're invited.
Incredible.
Just email us,
Mr. Rock.
We'll make it
As
happen.
soon as like Ballers is done, you're.
I don't know if you're into
Could he
music,
fit
but
in this room, though?
Yeah, dude.
We might have to do that
His
one.
aura
outside.
Have you
is
ever released
huge.
an album or something? I feel like he's one of those people
Should.
that probably does. You just don't know about it.
Right.
Well, this is a rock safe space.
Yeah. Well, going back to
No scissors here.
like taking it back to like a sweeter spot, like when you guys are hosting stuff, and because you had mentioned like you could walk in anywhere and they'll just kind of slide you in. As a host, when you see someone like Klaus or Brian walk in, how excited do you get, or does it even like do you even register? Or?
It turns the whole night around in just the best way.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys remember seeing anybody that's now fairly prominent musician? I mean, outside of the room here, that you were like, that person's going to do something, or they're gonna make some moves here in town.
I remember Jackie Venson first starting on guitar at Stompin'.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
cool.
Little
She
loop
was a
pedal,
keyboard
yeah.
player,
Friend
for
of
a
the
while.
show.
Yep.
Friend of the show.
But I remember like her doing like an interview there when she was like picking up the blues and everything like that, and started playing guitar out more. Samantha Lee, I think y'all have played with.
Mm-hmm. Family Tree.
Also, I mean, Shaky Graves was playing at Flipnotics for a while before it shut down. So I don't know, but you know what? Like Brian said, is like there's a lot of talent in this town, and you could probably count on your fingers how many people you think could make it. But it all boils down to luck. Mm-hmm. It all boils down to opening the doors at the right time and having those doors available to you. There's a guy. I think we all know him from Luis Soberon. He was from Sons of Santos, and I thought that he was gonna go places, but he decided to become a dad and get into politics, which is great. But he had the talent, I thought, to do it, but he decided not to, and that's okay. Sometimes life just creates a different path for you, and but I don't know. Open mics, for me, that's not what they're about. Open mics are a lot more just about feeling like you have a purpose. Like for me, being a non-religious person, it's a really wonderful place to go somewhere once a week, like a church, but like it's not affiliated with that at all. It's just about the music, and then seeing people that you love every week doing something that they love. It's just a surreal experience, and I really think that's what it's about. You don't have to be good. I think that's a cool thing about open mics, that you don't have to be that great. As long as you come back consistently, you're trying to improve, and you make connections with the people that are there, and you're their friends. That's the best thing about the open mic. I think if you really want to get famous, you leave open mics. You start a band and you have practice on the night that an open mic is. But that's the sacrifice you make. You make your sacrifice of the friendships that you have at the community to do something a bit greater. I think you can marry the two sometimes, but I really do think that in order to go to the next level, you have to give up one of at least a little bit of that element. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
There's a certain thing too out past just raw talent, like Matt was asking about. You see some people, and in this day and age, especially if you're going to be a singer-songwriter and not like a young pop star or something, there's a certain business aspect to it and organization, and you see some people that they're just super talented, but you can tell that they're just sadly like not gonna get their stuff together to like really take it to another level, and unless like they get lucky and find somebody that wants to take them under their wing and do all the legwork for them to get them launched, I guess would be the right way to put it. So there's a lot of talent out there, and then there's only a few people you ever see that seem to be organized enough and talented enough to like have a chance to make it in the city or anywhere, I guess, these days.
Right.
Well, the good thing is it seems like, kind of to sum up what we were saying about open mics, is there is value just inherently in open mics themselves. Like it doesn't have to be a launching pad, and it's not it's not the end all be all, but you can just have a great life going to open mics once a week, being with your friends, playing music you like, trying out new stuff.
Even as just a fan of music that's not participating,
you
can
can go
to these
that's
things,
true.
and you can like really. There's always going to be at least a moment that you're going to remember,
But even speaking to your experiences, I think even bad experiences can be memorable. Like I remember, and by bad I mean a person who's really not that great, but they still act as confident as if they were. Like I remember being at
Those are the best people in life,
right. One of them's our president, and so
Ooh, zing, burn,
boom, and so
Boom.
Just insert a sound there.
or just edit that out. Don't want to get political, but. So those people, so there was this guy at the Firehouse Lounge, and he would walk in and he would have a captain's jacket on, like a ship captain, and he would wear a captain's hat, He had this very like, mangy beard, and he would come in and he would just sing a cappella. And he would do it for 2 songs. Like he'd sing the song and then stop and then start up another song. Like he didn't just do one. Yeah. He did, and he came for multiple weeks. And he just came in, and were just amazed at seeing this guy come in and singing. Like no one really enjoyed it, but it's one of the. There are people who had better performances that I don't remember, but there's this performance that I do, and I'm very. It's like a bit of a controversial art.
It was
right?
endearing, regardless of musical quality, I guess.
Yeah,
would be the best way to put it.
I mean, it's very open space to try different kinds of performing too.
Yes.
Because you see that a lot. It's like, I mean, shit, like Andrew Stone, like he's doing like the violin bow and like looping that stuff and like it's so different, and that's a great place to kind of.
Go ahead, man.
I recall a nice little performance piece by the Fire Lounge crew with Camille singing lead and accompanied by several shirtless men in the back. So
I didn't dream that.
Yeah, so some. I was like, because I came in late. Brian invited me into the scene when we started playing together, and I remember sitting there going, "What the fuck are these guys doing?"
That came up recently, actually.
I was like just so thrown off by this whole thing that was happening in front of my eyes.
That was the day Brian met his arch nemesis.
Ooh, yes.
Wait, you have an arch
I recall
nemesis?
that story.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
He who should not be named.
Yeah. No, that's a very mob mentality. I wouldn't say that I usually feel comfortable taking my shirt off at a place like that, but
Yeah. There's a whole gang
with
of
the
them.
energy. It was the energy of the boys.
I remember there was a lot of hairy men up on stage.
A lot of hairy short men.
Yeah.
It is something you notice about the open mics or musicians in general. There's a lot of short, just like, stocky guys with guitars.
I'm not short. I'm compact.
Short, compact guys with guitars. And so you see a bunch of, like, there was Melina and then there was Camille singing this song called, what is it called? I'm Available.
Just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. Thank you.
Just kidding. Yeah, that's right.
And basically, it's kind of reverse about, men coming onto women, it's women coming on to men. And then so we're all the shirtless dancers behind them. And it was just like amazing, just like you said, to see all these, these very hairy musicians.
What's going on right now? Why are they taking their shirts off at
Beards.
this place?
Yes.
You're like, did I walk into the right bar?
I remember those first encounters I had with that group of people. It was almost a bit overwhelming how like nice everybody was, and just like
it's like, are you guys gonna kill me after?
Like, yeah, it's like it's like just everybody. It was so nice and like it was just strange. It was. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. It was just different for me.
But it's funny because looking back on it, I just realize how special that was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't gonna last forever. And I was under the illusion that it would.
Yeah.
But then life happens, People have different obligations that pop up. Certain people get into fights. Couples break up.
You get marriage.
Just like there's so many things, and then it just changes the dynamic. I think what really helped is that most of the people in there were all single. And all we loved was playing music, and we didn't try to. Can we cuss on this podcast?
Absolutely, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, we weren't all trying to fuck each other.
Yeah.
So
we've been cussing.
as soon as you introduce fucking into the open mic community, shit gets weird.
Don't fuck nobody.
Yeah, don't fuck
Rule number
nobody.
2. Yeah.
Rule number 2.
I just remember there was this one
right
thing
back.
in house wine community where like
We're
it
allowed
was-
to swear, Keep that.
just everyone was like, it was just this one group dynamic where everyone was just trying to sleep with everybody else, and it just made things so awkward because like he slept with her and she slept with him, and it was like, oh my god, but I thought she liked me.
I mean, that happens in any circle of people
it
hanging
gets a
out.
little
But I didn't think it was gonna happen to us. That's my thing. I thought we were above it. It's like we had music.
Josh, welcome to the world.
I hated
man.
it. It made me think. It made me so old. I was so young and naive.
Where'd you meet your wife again, Josh?
Clint, didn't you meet your girlfriend at?
Yeah, I met my girlfriend at open mic.
Pivot.
She wasn't part of the community though. She was just an outsider attending the open mic.
Yeah.
I didn't pursue.
Well, to be fair, my wife was too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Regular citizens, yeah.
yeah. You gotta.
She was a
Never
sister
works out
of
with the internal. Gotta,
Sister
gotta
of the
get
host.
outside.
Yeah, she was a sister of the host of the open mic,
Mhm.
and she was just visiting, I believe, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, like she wasn't living here at the time when he met. Yeah.
I made her stay.
And then Josh started
those-
singing.
got
and
my
he's
two
like,
best songs.
You got his 2 best songs. That's really good. Yeah, I mean, I only went a few times to some of those open mics.
I
but
remember you sang
it
at
was,
one.
dude. That's actually the only time I ever sung solo, and it was terrifying. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. I played a lot of open mics in San Antonio. Like I was saying earlier with the duo, like at Limelight, and then we actually some bar that was like north, kind of by where the Spurs Stadium's at. It's kind of the industrial area over there. But yeah, and then it's just doing it by myself, it's just terrifying. Like I don't know how you guys do it.
But isn't that amazing?
Talking about fucking?
Yeah. Oh, I'm great by myself.
But isn't that amazing how that energy of the group like made you feel confident enough to go do it?
Man, I wouldn't even say that was it. To
Really?
be honest with you, like I think it was just more for me at that particular time.
Okay.
Was like I've been fighting with it because I even went to stomping grounds a few times by myself without telling anybody I was gone, and I'd sit there the whole time with the guitar and I wouldn't play, and then I'd just leave.
Oh man.
I think I remember I kept asking you, so you going to sign up? You're like, I'm thinking about it.
I was like thinking about it. I don't know. And then I just remember, like, because I was hanging out at the House Wine a few times with Brian, who invited me to come over a few times, and then I just remember I was like, "Fuck it, man! I'm never gonna do it if I don't do it." So I just tried it, and I was sweating and terrified, and it's brutal. And I've never done it since. Not solo, anyways.
Yeah.
Doing it as a duo, no problem. Like I'll play anywhere, but
I will say I think that's one of the most rewarding things that I've experienced as a host. Just because I remember being that terrified, like, performer right before I'm about to go up and then, like, completely botching my first performance, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And then the host just being extremely encouraging. Seeing performers that, like, they're there with their friends and their friends, like, drag them out or something like that. They've never been on stage by themselves or let alone on stage at all. And then just watching them come back and then start to develop and everything like that. That's like the most rewarding aspect for me. I
will say though, I mean, as far as everyone there after I was done made me feel great, whether or not it was great. But it was just, that, and so to that extent, Josh, yeah, it was a good place for that. Just being around non-judgmental people at that time, you know.
Oh, you're being judged. But.
Oh, I felt it. No, I'm joking. Like it was just.
Well, the last thing I'll say on that, it doesn't. The fact if it was great or not, the fact that it just was. Right, like
yeah, I guess that's more or less what it is. Like I didn't feel, even though I was extremely nervous about the whole situation and very uncomfortable. Right. I don't think anyone else felt that way.
Right.
Yeah.
We just want to see you.
People are just there to hang
conquer
out
fear
and have a good time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, rule 3. While I'm thinking about it, rule 3. If there's a rule 3, because this helps out the host tremendously. Buy something when you're there.
Yeah.
And tip your bartenders.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's how the open mics make sense to keep running. You know.
Yeah. That's
sell
one
things.
of the struggles with the open mic too. Is like you got the bar that depends on you increasing their numbers, and then you got a bunch of broke musicians. You got to try to find that balance.
Just save up
Get
$5.
some outsiders out there too.
Go buy something.
That's what I'm saying too. It's like broke musicians, but they're all on their iPhones.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's like
That's
such a relative term because most people are musicians. I would say most, not all, but come from some means.
Yeah,
meaning that you can afford a $5 drink. Like it's
not
hard.
Get a cheaper phone. Spend all your money on booze.
Yeah.
Brian,
pretzels.
Rule number 4.
You're making me thirsty.
Rule number 4. Dive into alcoholism.
Hey, someone's writing these down, right?
Yeah. We'll just go back and edit them.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Get yourself a flip phone.
I'll write it on my pants.
We're going to review those at the end.
Yeah. And check those out closely.
Now that we've developed all the rules for open mic, since we're the authority on that, we're an authority in another area of life, and that is Yahoo Answers.
Ooh.
This is what we do now.
This is
we call
exciting.
this the simple truth. So what I do is go through Yahoo Answers and look for some of the weird questions, or just questions that I think we, as a podcast, you as the guests, can answer with complete authority. So we want to give these people the answers that they need. All right. So what we'll do is we'll just go around.
Can we reverse order this time?
Sure. Yeah. We can go around the other way. Wow. This is weird. I feel upside down. This is the Yahoo Answers in
I
Australia.
don't want to sign up for number 1.
I got the
It's
same
too late. You got to
either
follow
way.
the rules.
So I'll start with Clint. Got to roll Josh, Brian, and Brett. And there's no stakes. It's not a real game. So if you want to chime in, if you think you can answer the question, what we want to do is give the best information we can. So, Clint, let's start with you. Does your pee usually splash everywhere?
I thought that was a two-parter. I was waiting
No.
for the follow-up. Usually.
Hey, usually.
No, not usually. Under certain circumstances, yes. Is that?
What is it, Clint?
I
Usually
guess,
or
yeah,
not
that
usually?
doesn't really. They don't really want to know more than that.
I wonder
so
what they want
I
to
would
know.
say
That was
not
the most
usually.
ambiguous.
So this is
Yeah.
a person who just can't hit the toilet for the most part. I
feel
guess
like
maybe.
If I were on Yahoo Answers, I would reply not usually with a follow-up. Like, why do you ask?
What about those urinals? They have like a little bee on them or something like that. You're supposed to aim at it so it goes down nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I make all the efforts to stop
Yeah,
the splash
yeah.
if possible. Especially if I'm wearing sandals.
Yeah.
No one wants that.
What if you
So-
pull your
Maybe-
pants all the way down to your ankles? Does that help?
Lift your
No.
shirt.
Yeah, lift your shirt.
You
Yeah.
ever think that you might be peeing too hard? You
Yeah.
might want to settle the stream a little.
Yeah.
You know he's.
How
an
would you do that?
overachiever.
How do you pull back when you're peeing? How do you
I
be
think you
less
just,
aggressive?
gotta have-
holding it all day.
You gotta have what I like to call
It's a
dick
fetish.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Sorry, I had to chime in there.
Get better dick control. Rule number 5.
Better dick. Okay. Actually, that doesn't.
Unless you have a
apply.
medical problem, then
Yeah.
seek help.
Yeah. Then get dick help. Yes.
Thanks, Clint.
You're welcome.
All right, Raul.
Okay.
Can you get married at McDonald's? Asking for a friend.
No, because their ice cream machine is always
Right.
broken, and your guests just
Terrible
are-
reception.
They're gonna need
Probably.
ice cream, so I would say no, unless somehow you find the one magical McDonald's that has a working ice cream machine.
What if there's a playland though?
Then yes.
Okay.
Mm.
Could you imagine the wedding planner for that? Like going to the assistant GM at McDonald's, got the headpiece in. Listen, we need the ice cream machine today. Are we at 100% today?
Yeah, we got the Shamrock
Yeah.
shakes ready.
Yeah, Shamrock.
Well, I mean, like there's always something that goes wrong at a wedding. So if you have a wedding at a McDonald's, you already know the ice cream machine's gonna
That's
be
true.
broken. So like that's just one mistake right out of the way.
What if you could just bring your own ice cream machine? You know.
It's too much work.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like you have.
You're getting
some-
married at McDonald's.
Raul, is there some kind of experience in this field? Because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
seems
what's-
very
what's
specific,
your-
and then you
maybe
keep.
upsetting.
How
Yeah,
often do you
you
try to
seem
get
a
ice
little-
cream from McDonald's?
Personally upsetting.
We live in Texas. It's hot.
Yeah, that's true.
And do you-
and they
and
do
I'm
have
poor.
excellent ice cream though too.
And I guess if you're doing it at McDonald's, do you rent it out? Is it open bar basically? Do you get to just go up and keep getting double quarter pounders,
Oh man.
shakes? Like,
Ooh.
how much are you willing to give to your family and friends?
Dollar menu? I think dollar menu.
Everything on
open-
dollar menu is
open-
open, and
yeah,
cash
open
bar
bar,
for
yeah.
everything
The
else.
college my sister
Yeah.
went to had an all-you-can-eat Taco Bell in their dining cafe, which I think
How do
was
you-
the
Jesus.
worst idea
Yeah.
ever for
Isn't all
18-year-old
Taco
kids.
Bell like all you can eat for like $5 anyway?
Pretty much.
Okay, that idea.
I don't know. There was
America.
Like, bad news. I got
So
so much. I got
some
so sick when I
libertarian.
went to visit her.
So I guess we'll say sure, but double check the ice cream machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be on it. And consider your guests.
Yeah.
You want it to be a special experience for them. Consider a playland. Consider an open bar. Josh,
Mm-hmm.
why are cucumbers so cool? I don't even know if this means like temperature, or are they just cool? Like cool to have? I guess it depends on where you put them.
Josh. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the answer.
It's an existential question.
Where'd you put it?
What? It can kind of go anywhere.
Yeah.
It can go in the mouth, a little taste sensation.
Yep. Yeah.
Goes into another orifice, you get a different type of
Yeah.
sensation.
You can go in water.
It can go in water, you get a different sensation there.
Or a,
Is it
a
so-
salad.
Is it seedless?
So is that why cucumbers are cool?
I think, yeah, because of opulent orifices.
Yeah.
You can sit on it for a while and have yourself a pickle.
Yeah. People are always like talking about, stuffing a whole cucumber in their orifices, but they don't give credit to the sliced cucumbers, like just going one at a time. Yeah. No love for that.
Yeah.
But very versatile. That's probably why.
Yeah.
A lot of versatility.
You ever heard that cucumber song?
The cucumber.
Let's
yeah,
hear
the
it.
cucumber. Yeah.
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 It's
I don't know it. It talks about all the health benefits of cucumbers.
Yeah, but it's just a
in
guy
a
doing
cute
it like a
little rap,
Jamaican
yeah,
accent.
yeah.
I think that's the only endearing thing about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Do you only get the health
Well, yeah.
benefits? Never mind. I'm going to stop.
Yeah. I think it's suppository health benefits. Basically.
Well, a capuchin monkey would disagree with the fact that cucumbers are cool.
Ooh, I don't know what that means.
Why do you know this?
What is that?
So if you give a capuchin monkey a task, like if you put a rock like in its cage and then you want it to give it back to you, you have to give it a reward.
Okay.
So if he gives it back to you and you give him a cucumber, he'll eat it. But then if there's a cage next door and they do the same thing and you give him a grape, the other monkey's going
Because he wants the grape.
literally ape shit. Wow. And so, but then you give him a cucumber for the reward and he throws the cucumber back at you because he's like, the other guy got a grape. It's like, what's going on? So obviously they don't think cucumbers are that cool. And since we're relatively close to monkeys in the evolutionary tree, I don't think they're that cool.
I'd prefer a grape.
I
over
think
a
that was the
cucumber.
answer that we needed the first
Right.
time. I'm glad we got there.
Yeah.
Well, I delegated
Science.
most of the response to everybody else.
We're
That's how it usually works.
we're nothing
It's
if
team.
not a think tank.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I'm definitely a tank.
All right, Brian.
Yes.
Why do girls stare when us men are just trying to buy ice cream at Baskin Robbins?
Who asks these questions?
Why do
A
girls
lot of ice
stare?
cream in this.
Yeah.
First of all, take yourself to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah.
Are there 31 ways
Maybe-
to answer that question?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why they're like, did you already try the McDonald's? Is that what
Yeah.
you're hearing?
Maybe they feel like you're spending too much money on ice cream.
It could be.
You know, maybe like they're concerned about you and you're spending and you're budgeting for ice cream. You know, I think that's what it is.
Is there a
More
healthy
practical
amount to
thing.
spend on ice cream?
Oh,
Or do you ever feel bad spending too much on shitty food?
Well, like I have
You
to
know.
say, you know, from my experience, for a while I was getting, you know, as a little snack, I'd get like a pint of ice cream, you know?
Oh, that's
And then I was like,
best
you know
snack.
what? Yeah. I was like, you know what? This time I'm going to get a half gallon. It's just going to last me a long time. But the problem is
I think I know the answer to this.
self-control comes into place. Yeah. But, you know, it's good value, but then you just end up fatter than you want to be, you know? So
It's funny because it's a lose-lose because when you pay a lot of money for little food, you're like, oh, I got fucking ripped off. But then you pay a little money for a lot of food, you're like, oh man, I can't stop eating. So you need to find that like middle ground. So maybe what the ladies are looking at, they're like, there's a man who knows his middle ground because he's going to Baskin Robbins.
maybe Baskin Robbins is the middle ground. Like that's the place.
There's 31 choices. You can't possibly choose. You just walk out.
they
Yeah.
always find out.
Look, guys, just slip in a little bit of meth, and you'll be fine. You'll be able to.
That's
you'll stop.
the answer.
You'll stop eating
There's meth
altogether.
is the answer.
Yeah.
You'll start picking.
Yeah.
Maybe they're
So they want to
staring
know
because
if you're holding?
maybe they're staring because you're doing meth.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
You
go.
ever think about that?
Ooh. Yeah, put it back on there. Yeah. Hey, look,
Those meth head girls at Baskin Robbins just hanging out.
They want some of it.
look in a mirror, all right?
Yeah.
Look at yourself eating ice cream.
Do you smell cucumbers?
Baskin Robbins is definitely the place to think about yourself and your choices.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
life.
Just go sit in a booth by yourself. Like
They have booths at Baskin Robbins?
they need to.
Oh, you just go to the McDonald's next door.
Yeah.
Get that rum raisin. Mm.
All right, Brett. We'll
Yes.
finish off. My friend told me to put a spoon in the microwave and see what happens. Should I do it?
Is it really a spoon? Is it really there? Does the spoon really exist?
So is it a metal spoon? Did they say
Yeah.
metal spoon?
Yeah. I guess yeah.
That
I'd
makes
say
sense.
either way, yes. Just and you can learn from the situation.
Push start and then run.
Yes.
In life, you should just try things, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah, fuck
if
books.
you don't know the right answer to that, you should try it out, and then you'll figure it out from there. Hopefully.
So, obviously, I don't think this guy, it was a real question, but this one guy, we've never read one of these answers, but this guy's answer was so fascinating. I have to read it.
Oh, thank
The top
God.
answer?
This guy gets real personal real quick about the answer.
Oh,
So he
man,
goes,
personal anecdotes.
if you tried that, you would blow up your microwave and you would probably be killed by the blast. It ain't worth it. Your so-called friend was trying to set you up to get hurt or killed. If someone is trying to set you up like that, they are not your friend. Someone is not going to try to get their friend killed. Then he goes on to say, there are people who pretend to be your friends, but in reality, they are your enemies. I have had people, back when I was a kid, that I thought were my friends. And they would put me up to doing something wrong while they secretly gave me up in the principal's office.
Wow, this goes way back.
Most of this happened when I was a teenager in middle school and high school, and I would get in trouble if I fell for it. If I didn't fall for it, they would spread false rumors about me. And I would get in trouble for something that I didn't do.
Man.
Possibly something that didn't happen. They made it up. I am a grown man now in my 30s. Take it from me. If someone is trying to set you up, they're not your friend. What kind of business does a 30-year-old man have?
This
Giving up-
sounds exactly like the guy who told me he was going to be running his own sound.
Basically.
Yeah, I think
Like-
we need to get this fella on the open mic.
Yeah.
Talk about spoons and
What
friendship. Friendship is hell.
Like, that's a lot of...
What's your day look like to
Yeah.
put 20 minutes into putting that into a Yahoo
Yeah.
answer?
Do you think he answers that for everything?
Just copy and paste.
Hey, dude. Hey, dude. Why are cucumbers so cool? I don't know, but
People just
one
aren't
time in
your
high
friends.
school, yeah,
Someone tried to set me up.
yeah.
Cucumbers only cool because of the authorities.
Yes.
Good stuff, guys. We've given the world a lot of answers, a lot of help today. Open mics, cucumbers,
Write down those rules.
Yeah.
but it's a lot of don't be a dick and watch where you put your dick, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most
Careful.
rules
Yeah.
revolve
Leave,
around
yeah.
leave your dick out
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Josh and Raul. Appreciate it. So,
Our pleasure.
Josh, obviously, Fierce Kelly stuff still going,
Yeah,
and you're a full-time musician, so you're playing around town.
I am.
Let's see.
I have a residency at Culinary Dropout on Sundays. There's a brunch there.
That's a
and
great brunch.
It is.
I love it.
Brian covers for
Hell
me
of a
whenever
brunch.
I can't
Yeah.
be there, which is quite
Yeah.
nice as well.
Brett too.
Yeah, that's right, the duo.
Good too.
And it's funny because Brian looks exactly like the manager there, and so
Identical. It's
Wow.
insane. It's
We're
insane.
we're playing there on Halloween, and I just thought I'm gonna like really try to look like him on Halloween.
well, I think what would be
Over
great
the
is
top.
if he just stepped on for you, and like just held the guitar.
We've
and
talked
just-
about doing a
and you
duo.
manage.
I was what we had mentioned is like I would give him my bass, and then the two of them would
Yes,
be on
that
stage
would be
together.
awesome.
because he plays bass.
Oh, see, there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, and we would do like just the two of us or something like
Yes,
that.
that's it.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And then Fierce
Jimmy,
Kelly,
let's do it.
We've got a show on November 17th at the Highball.
Nice.
But other than that, always playing shows. You can check out my music at www.joshklausmusic.com, and you can see all my shows that are going on there.
Cool. And fiercekelly.com.
That is
Those
correct.
are the two links. Yeah, Raul, the modern day Midas. You're just like throwing out a bunch of songs now. You're just like releasing new singles every week. It seems.
Yeah.
Videos, new album, The Wolves. It's on
Yeah,
Spotify.
I just released a 5-song EP called The Wolves, and thankfully Clint here helped me release my other 2 albums, which actually Clint produced all 3 of the albums. So thank you for that, because I would sound terrible without it. But yeah, I have them all on iTunes and Bandcamp, and I just they're on Napster now. I just saw that on my email today.
Yeah, they go to.
Apparently
there's
it's
like,
back.
about that the other
there's like 400 random stores out there now. You know,
Yeah, so Modern Day
You get
Midas.
a tenth of a cent from something you never heard of. I'm sure. in a
Modern day
few
Napster.
weeks.
modern day Napster.
Modern Day Napster, yeah. All my stuff's out there, and same with. I don't have any residencies right now, but same with Josh. Like, I'm just playing 3 or 4 days a week, like just playing full time. I usually try to keep my calendar updated, so.
Yeah.
If only
Check out.
Someone
Yeah.
would write a song about that. Call it The Grind or something. You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, that's a throwback.
Hey. Fair City
Hey.
I
Fire.
feel like that song would shake my bones, though.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Maybe if you do it too much, it might take you under.
Oh, man. If I listen to one more Fair City Fire song, I'm going to put a cucumber in my ass.
On that note,
Good night, everybody.
All right.